morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Monday, April the 24th. We're going to talk about a production with Maplewood Barn, which opens up later this week. But first of all, let's start off with Jeff Moran. Good to have you here, Jeff.
Good morning, Paul.
Jeff represents Mobility Worldwide, and we used to refer to it as PET, right?
Right, just to refresh people's memories, we make these three-wheeled carts that are hand-operated that we give to leg-disabled people all over the world. And the PET name just has been changed to Mobility Worldwide because when people search for PET on the internet, they come up with dogs and cats and snakes.
Okay, so we're talking about a Mobility Worldwide. And how many of these vehicles, you call them vehicles, personal vehicles?
Yeah, or carts.
How many have been distributed around the world?
More than 60,000. I think it's over 63,000 now have been distributed. I just got back from a trip to Kenya where we distributed 154 of these carts to leg-disabled people. The picture that Paul's holding up to the camera now is of a man whose legs were so disabled he just had to use his hands to move them in front of himself and then scoot on his butt forward. But when he got one of these carts, he said, now I'm going to work. I'm going to work. And we said, well, what kind of job do you have? Where do you work? And he says, well, I don't have a job yet, but now I can get one because I have the card.
It's a life-changing event.
Yes.
It's an absolute life-changing event. And so many, I know you were telling us the emotion that it takes over people once they receive this card and are able to move in a more dignified way.
Right, they can, instead of crawling along on the ground eating dirt, they can look people in the face, and it just changes their whole attitude about their lives and generally, and they can use them to make little stores that they can drive up and down the street and sell candy and chips and so on, which doesn't mean a whole lot to us maybe, but it gives them a source of income and so on. And we went deep into the slums of Nairobi a couple of days to talk to people who had received carts months earlier just to check to see how they're holding up and working and so on. There was 3 shoe repairmen, which is a good job for people with these carts because it doesn't require a lot of tools, no electricity and so on, so they can go up and down the street and do things like that. We have the child or small-sized cart that generally children use, and one young man that we visited was the first student ever admitted into an 1,100 student boys high school, the first disabled student ever admitted there, just because he had this card, and his goals are to eventually become a lawyer and work with disability issues in Kenya.
That's beautiful, Jeff. But if people want to help out here, if they want to make a donation, what can we do?
The information is on the back of one of these.
You can call 886, that's area code 573, 886-7877, or you can go to the internet at giftofmobility.org, and that will give you all the information you need, correct?
Yes.
Now, the telephone number, 573-886-7877, what is that going to be?
That's the office at the Columbia shop of the Mobility Worldwide.
And they're made here, correct?
Yes, there's about 20 shops around the country that make these. Columbia's the largest and the oldest of the
So if people want to see it, they can stop by there.
Sure,
You're located
anytime.
on Hereford Road.
Right, we're open every day.
All right. Thank you very much, Jeff. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Now, I want to turn to Maplewood Barn Theatre, and we have ERICA Brunington. Good to have you back again, ERICA, and Joshua Runnels. And you are both here to tell us about your production, Raisins in the Sun, which opens up later this week.
Yes, on Thursday.
What is Raisins in the Sun about?
Well, Raisin in the Sun is about a lower class family trying to establish themselves as middle class people. The father passes away and he leaves an insurance check, so the family has to decide what's important to them, what they're going to do with that money. And each person has their own dream of what that money should be used for.
Yeah. Joshua, your character in the production is?
Joseph Asagai. He's a Nigerian native that is studying in Chicago that befriends one of the main characters.
And you're also one of the main characters?
I'm actually the director.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, you're not an actor this time.
Not this time.
Okay. So Joshua, tell us about your character and use that beautiful voice and accent of yours.
Well, Joseph Asagai, he's quite the character. He comes and he goes away for a summer, comes back, and he's dating the main character, Benita.
Yeah.
He calls her Eleo. And interesting enough, he gives her a cultural and social awareness and perspective that no one else in the play is able to attribute to this specific play.
Yeah.
And he does a great job of doing so.
So when people are finished with the play, when the final curtain comes down, how are we going to exit the theater? What kind of a feeling are we going to have?
I think you're going to have a feeling of inspiration and understanding maybe people that don't live like you, look like you, talk like you, and walk like you. So I think it's going to give you a different perspective into somebody else's life and give you some hope.
Isn't that important? Isn't that important if we could all just realize we're all different in so many ways, but we're still all alike. We're still the same. We're human beings. Mm-hmm. And if we could just break down that barrier that is put up, and it's an artificial barrier that's put up, we could get along so much better. Mm-hmm. What do you want to add to that, Joshua?
I do want to add that the play brings about a sense of understanding with community and how divided it could be in certain economic standpoints. In Chicago at that time, this was back in the 1950s, and at that moment, the dreams of a lot of people, African Americans specifically, were deferred, and actually relates to one of the poems about Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it kind of crumble like a raisin in the sun? So I think that was very significant to help understand that possibly there's a lot of people out there that don't get a chance to fulfill their dreams. So it can inspire, like ERICA said, for those to now strive a little bit harder. And I want to make sure that they get that message from that.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And to be able to live the dream that you have is so important.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So Raisin in the Sun is opening on
Thursday,
April the 27th, and it runs how long?
It runs for 2 weekends, so Thursday through Sunday, 2 weekends.
Maplewood Barn Theatre. Everybody is invited to attend, and if it rains, you just move inside.
It's an indoor show.
Oh, it's an indoor show. You're not doing it outside
at all?
So you don't have to worry about the rain at all then. Okay. Thank you so much for coming by. Pleasure having both of you here. And Jeff, we're out of time for today. Tomorrow we're going to start the first of a series of many discussions about the total solar eclipse that is coming right through central Missouri. We'll see you tomorrow.